Good morning, everyone. It's already 12 o'clock and time for our webinar. So first of all, welcome to today's webinar titled Money and Motherhood. My name is Mary Jane Ezurike, and I am thrilled to be your host. So today we'll be focusing on the delicate balance between managing finances and raising a family. So whether you're already in the midst of the journey or simply preparing for it, the insight here today will undoubtedly be valuable for you both now and in the future. So if you have any questions during the presentation, I encourage you to jot them down somewhere so you can remember to ask during the Q&A session at the end. Without further ado, allow me to introduce our esteemed speaker for today. Her name is Temitope Oyekanmi. Temitope is a risk specialist at Quantum Zenith, bringing with her a wealth of experience in audits, control, and risk management. She holds a BSc in accounting, and she's a chartered accountant, a project management professional, and most importantly, a dedicated mom. Temitope, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mary Jane, for the introduction. Thank you. And hi, everyone, and good afternoon to you, and a very big welcome to you to this webinar. We're going to talk about money and motherhood, balancing finances with raising a family. Um, just want to start by saying that it's going to be very, very educative. It's going to provide insights on how you can gain financial freedom as a mother, on how you can actually also um, have a great financial future, and also how you can also plan financially. So this is going to be very, very educative in all of this as we go through the various topics in the webinar. We just to mention that this webinar is not just about motherhood alone, because every woman is a mother, every lady is a mother, every female gender is a mother. So it's applicable to everyone who is a female gender. Yes. So it's not just all about having giving birth to a child or taking care of a child, as the case may be. So, and of course, we all know that when we celebrate mothers everywhere around the world, it's not particular about mothers that have given birth to a child or are raising a child. It's applicable to everyone who is a female gender. Kindly confirm that you can hear me by just giving the thumbs up on the chat box so I can be sure that I'm being heard by everyone. Can everyone hear me clearly as we move on?
Okay, so I can hear you. I hope the audience can.
Yeah. Can just indicate by a thumbs up on the chat box, just like so that I'm just sure that you can hear me clearly. Okay. Okay, thank you. I can see responses from people on chat box or even a reaction that you can hear me. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so I also want to say here that I know that we have a couple of, we also have men on the call who have also joined the webinar, and just makes us know that it's not all about women. Men also can also relay this message from this webinar to their fellow wives, to their fellow sister-in-laws. So that's why it's actually applicable to everyone. And I also appreciate the men that are actually in the room that have taken time out to also join us and support us on this webinar topic. It's much appreciated. Okay, so I'll just dive into the webinar today. I'm going to look at these points here. Introduction, money and motherhood, the concept around this, how motherhood can change the approach to finances, balancing finances with raising a family. We'll look at the 7-step approach that we can actually use to balance this, and of course, the final thoughts. So I'll just dive down to the introduction. Okay, so there's a survey that was done by Cities Women and Co. And they found out that after having a baby, money becomes a woman's second highest priority after parenting. When childbearing sets in, women tend to prioritize parenting over earning money, but their roles in financial decision making become bigger. This simply means that as a woman, at the point of giving birth to a child, from that point, you need money. You start incurring costs, and of course, you need money to incur this cost. And then that's the reason why it's very important to have necessary finances to actually cater for your child. But in actual fact, even before you give birth to a child, you even need to provide necessary finance to buy one or two things before you give birth to the child. If you go to the hospital for the normal antenatal, they'll give you a list that you'd use to actually purchase some particular items. So that means it's important that money rules the day in everything that we do as mothers, as women, and all of that. So that's very, very important for us to note here. And of course, the survey has said it all. First priority for the mother is to take care of a child that she's giving birth to. And secondly, the second biggest priority is also to earn money because she also needs to make financial decisions as regards this and become bigger. A good number of women today, they juggle work and mother at the same time because those two things actually work hand in hand. They could be motivated by their stay-at-home moms or they actually work in an office, a 9 to 5 job to be able to be productive. Money still becomes a very big factor in this tough decision because mothers always prioritize their kids, but they need money to actually take care of the kids. So that's why it's a very relevant topic we're discussing today, just so that everyone also has information at the end of the day on how they can actually balance all of this money and motherhood. Now, while we do not need any research to prove that becoming a mother changes a woman's life, there's a need to understand why motherhood changed a woman's financial status. This is actually very good. For better, for worse. We can relate these terms basically to marriage because anything that has to be married is always comes with the terminology for better, for worse. But in this particular instance as well, when a woman becomes a mother, you're giving birth to a child, it's actually for better, for worse as well. And so, in that light, these two terminologies actually work hand in hand, and it's actually very important. So, at the end of the day, the whole essence of this is for money for mothers to actually learn the skills as per being a mother and also knowing how money works and having money. Just to ensure that these two tools together become very powerful and women are happier moms and also finance stable. So at the end of the day, these two things actually work together and they cannot be separated. Right. Now let's look at some quotes generally that have been said by women, powerful women to be precise. So the first one is a woman's best protection is a little money of her own. Very apt. A woman's best protection is a little money of her own. That's also drives the point that women need money. And it helps her feel protected, it helps her feel secured when she has this money. And so those things are very important. The other one is when money flows into the hands of women who have the authority to use it, everything changes for women and their families and their community. So when women actually have money in their hands, they know how to use this money and everything changes around them. Give a woman the money today, she knows how she's going to manage that money and ensure that she puts it into good use. And the last one also drives on this point, which says, give a woman $1 and she can put it to good use. Or let me put it this way, give a woman a naira and she can put it to good use. So teach her about how money really works and she can change the world. So these three quotes actually just drive on the point to say that money and motherhood work hand in hand at all times. And of course, this has been said by powerful women just to drive on this point. Next slide, please. Now let's dive into the concept of money and motherhood. Now, money and motherhood, like I've said earlier, are related. You can't separate them. These two words are actually linked together. And thankfully, they actually start with the same alphabet, which is the alphabet letter M. You cannot actually separate money and motherhood. If you give birth to a child today, you will need money to take care of that child, obviously. So there's no way you can actually separate it. A child will be crying, and you can't just leave the child unattended to. A child needs to change diapers. You need money to actually buy diapers for the child to change it. A child needs to eat. In fact, there's some babies that eat a lot, right? And so you find that you even have to buy one tin of milk or baby's milk per week or for some few days, and then you keep on buying. And it's actually money that you're going to use to buy this milk. So it's very important that to know that these two words are linked together. Now, the motherhood concept, sorry, means a lot. Motherhood basically means you're always being there for your children, you provide for their needs, you lead them into the future, you ensure that nothing happens to them. Motherhood also means that you are a shoulder that you can cry on, because of course mothers are always there for their children at that point. I'm not saying fathers are not there anyways, but mothers are always there for their children. For they have the shoulder they can cry on. They are the cheerleader that never give up. A mother cannot see a child crying and would be disturbed about it. She will always feel undisturbed. She will always feel like not comfortable when a child is crying around, and that's why the role of motherhood actually is very, very important, and it's something that has to always be discussed and kind of overemphasized. Mother also means love, it means patience, it means working tirelessly to ensure that your children actually are equipped with knowledge and skills they need to actually succeed as adults when they get to that stage. So, besides having money to take care of them, motherhood also involves ensuring that your children are raised in a way that they can actually be able to say that yes, they're secured, they've gained the appropriate knowledge and the skills to excel when they get to that stage in the outside world when they become adults. So that's what motherhood actually entails. So motherhood, beyond the fact that you give birth to a child, also means that love, that peace you show to your children and all. So motherhood plays a very crucial role in shaping the society by nurturing and raising the next generation. Mothers, like I've said earlier, they often juggle multiple responsibilities. They take care of the home. They also have to work. As you can, as it's seen on the screen, it includes childcare, household management, and sometimes full-time careers. So it's very important that this role as mothers, we play that role properly. Now, let me just digress a bit and say that gone are the days when women or mothers rely on the men to provide everything for the family. Don't forget that when the man was created, Adam was created, Eve came alongside, and it was said that she'll become an helpmeet for the man. So gone are those days when a man just goes all out and gets all the money to take care of the family. But the reality now is that women now have to also, you know, speed up and get to that part of playing their own role to ensure that they also contribute to the finance and the family. And that's why mothers this day, women this day, they also work alongside men. They also contribute money to the finances of the family. So they also juggle work, they also juggle child, they do so many things, the same woman. Women naturally can multitask. We're just wired in that way that we can multitask by taking care of the home front, taking care of the child, also taking care of responsibility in the house, and of course, even full-time careers. And also, the financial implications of motherhood means that mothers must adjust their finances to fit the needs of their growing family, whether they are in the labor force, that's the 9 to 5, or a stay-at-home mom or working from home mom. So, as a stay-at-home mom, as a 9 to 5 mom, all of this together combines a career and also the responsibility of raising a family. So money and motherhood, like I've said, it's something that we need to always look at very closely, and it's a conversation that would never end. So let's move to the next slide, please. Now, in a bit to just drive home this relationship between money and motherhood, there are so many factors that are involved in it, and cultural factors, socio-economic factors, and even personal factors. And there are some points to actually consider when looking at these two concepts together, money and motherhood. So I'll just go through the points one after the other, and then just try to explain with some examples. So the first one is financial stability. Now, this is actually very, very, very important. Money is really, really needed to ensure financial stability for your family. Like somebody always say that you cannot, is it your teeth you're going to use to buy something? That means you actually need money to ensure that you have a family that you can actually run. So money is very, very crucial for ensuring financial stability of a family, including mothers and their children. And how do you have financial stability? It's basically having the financial resources, the adequate financial resources, which is money. All this English is actually money. Financial resources, it's money. Either the money is actually saved in the bank or it's actually invested in various investment options or investment classes. So it's basically just having the adequate financial resources that is needed to actually take care of basic needs. Basic needs, of course, we all know includes food, shelter, clothing, education, and other necessities. And the thing about not having the adequate, when I say adequate, that means it's something that is enough to meet the family's needs. So if you don't have this financial resources that is adequate in the family, it can create stress. You can lead to burnout for the mother and being able to fulfill our responsibilities. All of these things is very key to ensure that you're able to run the family very well. So this means that at any point in time, every woman must work. Everyone must do something, even though you don't have the necessary skills or the education to ensure that you can actually also provide the basic finance for your family. There are options out there. So there's no excuse for any woman to say, I don't have education or I don't have skills. There are many things you can actually learn. There are many workshops that you can actually learn from, where you can actually learn skills on how to make hair, skills on how to do makeup and all of this. So there are skills that you can actually learn to earn a living for yourself. At least have something that you can actually also bring to the table. When it comes to working, you can also seek for, you can actually apply for jobs, and at that point, you know, you also have a job by the side. So there's no excuse for any woman not to have at least a bit of financial resources to help her to pull through when it comes to ensuring that there's stability in the home financially. So the second thing we look at here is work-life balance. So balancing motherhood with a career or other income generating activities also involves financial considerations. So I said earlier about working. Many mothers have two things to do as per personal decisions, as per employment and childcare. These two things actually work together, and you have to find a balance in this. You have to take care of a child at the same time. You also need to work together for that child. So a thing to consider here is to ensure that you have the right work. You also have to take care of a child, and then at that point you have a balance. So most of the time there's this trade-off around, do I need to work outside the home? Meaning I go out to the office, a 9 to 5 job to do, or I have to stay at home to take care of the kids and probably get a remote job. So these two things are actually true that mothers have to face and make a decision on whether you go to that route as a 9 to 5 mother or working from home mother. All of this just helps you to be flexible in and being able to strike that balance between working and also taking care of your child. Another point to note here is economic empowerment. This also cannot be overemphasized. Every woman needs to be financially independent and every woman needs to be empowered. There's actually no excuse for any woman or any mother not to be empowered. In fact, there are so many webinars, there are so many resources out there. There are so many um, things you can actually learn about having control over your resources. And this just means that you can actually go out and seek for information, invest in education, healthcare opportunities, just to ensure that you judge your growth in your personal finance. Yeah, I know there are also bodies that actually even empower women everywhere around the world. That you can join communities where they can teach you about economic empowerment and teach you about how to, gain that financial independence. So this is actually very key for all women out there, or all mothers out there, to ensure that they actually empower themselves. No one has any excuse to just stay put and say that, oh, the money will just come from somewhere. But you have to empower yourself, take charge to ensure that you have that financial independence at every point in time. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is another area which normally causes a bit of dilemma for some mothers. Societal expectations, culture to be specific. So there's some culture that will say, no, a woman must not work. Her duty is to take care of a child, right? And of course, we know that some cultures or societies actually have this pressure on mothers. They provide this pressure so that taking care of a child is actually very, very more important than um, having to pursue a career for financial independence. But the truth of the matter is that even if you happen to be in that situation where there's a culture um, involved in it that you cannot actually work, there are still many things you can actually do. Even if it's to do some online stuff, getting remote jobs, or learning a skill online and applying it and do some financing, that can actually also help. So even if you cannot do a 9 to 5 job, that might take your time not being able to take care of that child, you can actually do some remote jobs, right? You can actually, there's so many emojis out there that you can actually partake of and do. So there's no excuse for anyone not to be able to partake of this. So societal expectation should not actually be a barrier for any woman to make that money and cater for her family. So taking away culture, taking away societal norms and all of that, there's still a room for every woman to still do something and ensure that she's able to settle herself financially and take care of her own. Another very important point is financial planning. This is actually a very, very important point. It can't also be overemphasized. So effective financial planning is actually essential for mothers to secure their own financial future. And of course, at the end of the day, provide for their children's needs. And in planning financially, you can actually do this by doing budgeting, creating budgets, saving for emergencies, retirement planning, and investing. Savings and investment are two different things, right? So savings can just be a putting money somewhere. For example, you might have a piggy bank where you just put in money. I mean a physical piggy bank now, or in those days we used to have what they call kolo. It's a wooden box where you just have a small space on top of it, and then you just throw in money into it at every point in time, and then you're saving. But that savings is not actually yielding anything for you. The money that you put, if you put 1,000 naira there, even in 10 years' time, it still remains at 1,000. That's what savings is. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but it has its own place. And then the other part is investment. So for investments, money grows for you. The money that you put into an investment actually works for you. It's not just if you put a 10,000 naira today, it can go to a 20,000 naira. So not just saving it there and it's not actually yielding any returns for you. So investment yields returns while savings is just there. However, savings is actually very important for emergencies because there's some times where you just need to get some money very, very quickly. I don't want to touch your investment. That is actually you can just go to your savings and then just pull out some money from there. Even in the world of finance, you can there's actually a bucket for actually investing, a bucket for savings, a bucket for expenses. Now that savings can actually take care of some emergency expenses. For example, maybe medical needs. Nobody expects that to happen. You could just pop up and you need to get to the hospital and you need to pay for some hospital bills, or something just happened, and something actually happens, and then at that point in time, you need to actually get some money very urgently, and you cannot even break your investment at that point in time. That's why savings is also very, very important. Saving in the bank, of course, well, it even has some little interest that even goes on what you have in the bank. So that's actually a very good one too, so you can also do. So savings should be combined with investments, just in order to ensure that mothers are able to secure their own financial future and also provide for their children's needs. So financial planning is actually very, very important factor to consider in money and motherhood. Now, this point on impact of motherhood on income is a very funny thing to consider as well because it's something that happens in the world today. Yeah. So, and it has to do with the earning potential. And sometimes when a woman that is pregnant, most of the time she might not get a job. You go to apply to a company and they say they are pregnant and they'll say, oh no, you're pregnant, we can't give you a job. So somehow motherhood has a way of also affecting your earning potential. That's one side to it. The other side to it is actually having some career interruptions where yes, you've actually giving birth now. You're actually working in the firm where you're not pregnant then. You actually get pregnant, you get married, get pregnant, and then you have to take care of your child. So you now have that, you have those two things in front of you, your job and your child. So at that point in time, there's what they call the moral penalty. You have to choose between, you have to balance both of them, not choose between. So these things kind of have a negative impact on motherhood because some companies might say because you were out of job for a long time, which is probably like a 3 months maternity leave, for example, they're not going to pay you. That way, your earning potential actually drops. Although some companies actually still pay while you're on maternity leave, but what about companies that don't actually even pay anything to a mother? That means for that period of time, she earns nothing. She earns nothing, and then her income drops. Another factor again that also affects her earning potential is if she's actually working in the place and they say, and oh, you were not around for a period of time because you have to go maternity leave, and you might not be promoted because you didn't meet up with the time. So all of these factors also affect money and motherhood, um, as it were. So everything doesn't need to be balanced, and these disparities actually can just require some intervention. So companies these days should always also. I know that many companies, like I said, pay mothers now when they are on maternity leave. I know in the past some companies were not even paying anything at all, and of course at that point, mothers won't even have anything to fall back on. And that's why all of these factors work hand in hand. That where you're working, you're saving, you're investing, and they all work together to ensure that yes, you gain that financial freedom and also secure your financial future as well. So let's move on. Now, in all that I've mentioned, there's something that is very, very important here, which is how motherhood can actually change their approach to finances. Now, let's look at pre-motherhood stage. So, as a single person, as someone that is not taking care of any child or has never given birth, let me put it that way. You would probably look at finance as just a mere word of saying, "Oh, I just save money, I just invest money, so that I can probably um, pay for a particular project, or say I just pay save money or invest money so that I'm able to meet a particular need in the future." You're only thinking about yourself at that point in time. Maybe at the other mother will stay. You're not actually thinking of any child. That is just a known fact for mothers, for women that are not taking care of a child at that point in time, or they are even not, they've not given birth to a child. At that point, your mindset is just on the fact that you're only saving for yourself or saving for your project that you want to do at the time. Maybe your education project, wants to actually go to school, or you want to actually do something, and then that's what you're thinking about. But reality.com, now being a mother, everything is going to change. There's going to be a complete change in the mindset, a complete shift in the mindset of how you now approach your finances. Because it's not going to be as usual anymore. Now you have to incorporate your child into any decision you're going to make. So it's not all about you this time around. It's all about you and your children or your child, as the case may be. And in that way, everything about how you perceive your finances would change entirely. And we'll just look at some various ways on how this can actually impact your finances when you become a mother. So the first one is actually you have to now set your priorities right. So before now, you're just a single person, only a mother. There's no expenses in future of saying I'm taking care of a child and all of that. But once you become a mother, everything changes. Priority shifts towards providing for the well-being of the child. So this just simply means that the way you're going to approach um, your finances will actually change. It's a change entirely because you now have to think about how you're going to take care of your children's expenses, buy milk for your children, buy pampers, buy clothes. And don't even forget that once you have a child
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni
from
nǹkan mi
zero,
jáde lánàá. Màmá yẹn, màmá káàárọ̀ mà, àlàáfíà lẹ wà.
because I
Kí ló
can
ṣe
mute.
yín? Kí lẹ jẹ? Kí lẹ wá
Um,
jẹ?
I'm looking
Can
for
you
Ó
can you
wà
mute
ní
her?
kọ́ ẹ
yeah.
pẹ̀lẹ́. Bébí yín kọ́.
All right, you can unmute yourself, Temtope, and continue.
All right, thanks, Mary Jane, for that. Also, I was talking about the fact that in the change on how your approach to finances change when you're a mother, the first point here, I'll just go back to it, is setting the right priorities. And so, before becoming a mother, like I said earlier, you just think about yourself. But now, the child has come into the picture, and then you need to also start thinking about your child, thinking about what they're going to eat at this point in time, thinking about the immediate expenses, and also thinking about, of course, the future education, because they're going to go from stage one to stage two, primary nursery school, primary school, secondary school, university, and all along. They're depending on you totally for um, their expenses. They're not working, they're still children. So everything that you just start thinking times 10, as against the way you're just thinking for yourself that oh, it's only me. I mean, I'm not thinking about anybody, but everything that should just change once you become a mother. So you have to just set these priorities right and put everything you're doing, just add to it that oh, and I have a child that I have to take care of. So that's a very, very, very important point on that. So, and in doing this, you can actually change your spending habits. So if you're spending on some particular things, you have to cut down on those spendings and channel that money they are spending on those other things into planning for for your children. So that's very, very key. So setting priorities, like I said, change your spending habits and financial goals. So all those will change. And you have to now have an increased focus on expenses related to childcare, education, healthcare, and other needs of the child. Sorry if I missed. Maybe you're actually looking at spending money on or thinking about going to buy um, your hair, your bags, your shoes, and all of that. And you've actually allocated so much to that area. You have to just cut down on that part. I'm just using that as an example. Cut down on that part and then channel that money to just focus on expenses related to your child in terms of education, their care, healthcare, and all of those things. The other thing to consider here also is budgeting. Now, mothers need to become more diligent in budgeting and managing household finances, just so that they have the adequate resources to support the family's needs. Now, budgeting just involves you balancing your income and your expenses. So you have to actually set for each of the expenses. You have to actually set budgets to them, like actually attaching like amounts to them. For this particular thing, I'm not going to do more than this amount. For this particular thing, I'm not going to do more than this amount, and the rest of that. So it's very key that all of this is also considered in your approach to finances. Before now, you might only budgets for yourself only. But right now, you now have a house to take care of. You have a family to take care of. You have your kids that have come into the picture. And so, in that regards, you have to also now change the narrative, change how you actually approach it by budgeting effectively. Now, in budgeting, anyways, you might have things you've already budgeted for, and that might change. So, of course, when you budget for some things, it's possible that you have to exceed those budgets. So, the what they call budget and actual. Oh, yeah, budget and actual. So you've actually budgeted you're going to spend like you're going to allocate 20,000 for a particular expense. But at the end of the day, you actually ended up spending 40,000. This also means that you have to probably review your budgeting that you have due to circumstances beyond your control. We all know how the economy is right now. Whatever it is that was like 10,000 today is now 20,000. You and I know that Indomie, which kids love a lot, used to be how much? I can remember in those days, it used to be like 1,009, 1,009. Yes, a carton of Indomie. It used to be like 1,009. After a while, it got to 4,000, it got to 6,000. And when this old dollar exchange high happened, it got to as high as 12,000 for a carton of Indomie. I know better like say a 4,000 or a 6,000 too, but the kids like Indomie. You have to just buy it or probably reduce the quantity you want to buy, just be able to meet up all of this, find a balance around all of these things. So basically, that's what it's all about. So if your actual or your budget was actually a 7,000, the actual would have been like a 10,000. But thankfully, anyways, Indomie has actually come down now. It's about I think it's about 7,000 something now. So it's a good thing in that regard. So that's basically what budgeting entails in this regard. Another way that mother can actually change their approach to finances is long-term planning. Now, we probably not even think of anything long-term. But right now, motherhood prompts any mother to think about the future and plan for the long term. Like I said, for every child, you start from cradle, toddler stage, and all of that. And there are different expenses that comes along with this. The immediate expense might just be, changing the baby's clothes, diapers, buying food, and all of those things that the immediate expenses. What about when they get to school? You have to start planning at that stage. When they get to nursery school, they get to primary school, the different expense. I know that the expenses increase as they grow in that ladder. So you have primary school, nursery school, primary school, you have secondary school. School has junior and has senior, and then you have the university. And I kid you not, all of these stages has different expenses that is actually attached to them. And it grows across as it progress, the expenses actually grow. So you have to plan ahead of that. You cannot wait till that time to actually say that you want to look for money for their education. Remember, I said that you cannot just depend on the father alone. You cannot just put all the expenses on the father and say, oh, it's his own place to take care of the school fees. The mother too has to help. The mother too has to also help and contribute our own quota to the finances of the family. And that is why she's an helpmate, basically. So it's very, very important that long-term planning is actually in the picture right now, saving for the child education, investing in retirement savings, and this all we just provide for the family's financial security, and then that you're financially secured. And not thinking that at that point in time, I don't have money for school fees for this my child and all that. And God forbid something even happens, unexpectedly happens, and probably there is no finance from the husband's side for whatever reasons. You can fall back on your own finally I've already saved up. And that is why the long-term planning actually comes to plan. It's very, very important. So before now, remember, you wouldn't think about all of these things because you're just planning for yourself. But moment of truth is here, you're not a mother. You have to just plan for that future of your child. Plan for the long term. And that's why the long-term planning actually comes to play. Now, you have to also create emergency funds. Now, this just helps to have a financial safety net for any emergencies. Like I said, there could be medical bills that could just crop up from any point in time. And at that point, you're not expecting that kind of thing to happen. You know that a child actually go through school and then you've actually prepared for that. But what if something just happens and it has to do with medical issues? At that point in time, where would you get the money from for together for that particular name? And that's why it's actually very, very important that, yes, aside from having the other investment, your other savings, have an emergency fund um, in place. A fund that you only use to cater for all of these kind of emergencies. And so basically, just to cover for any unforeseen circumstance that is obviously beyond your control, because you cannot kind of control what will happen in the future or what will happen in the immediate. That has to do with unforeseen things, or maybe a job loss, or even home repair. So where sometimes something happens and maybe they just lay off or something, then you're left stranded. Nobody wants to be left in that situation or find yourself in that situation where you don't have the necessary finance to take care of little things like taking care of your kids. Or probably you happen to be in a house and all of a sudden land just comes and says, you know what, I've sold this property to somebody and everybody has been given a particular time to leave. Where do you start from at that point in time? That's where the emergency funds are actually coming for you and help in this regard. So basically, the emergency fund just helps to have a financial safety net to be in place for unexpected expenses. And then you know that you're not going to be born out, you're not going to be under any form of financial stress. I tell you that one thing that can actually stress anybody, be it a man or a woman, is financial stress. You'll be sweating at the AC when you're actually thinking of, I have this ahead of me and all that, or something just came and just eat you, and then there is no money to take care of. And that thing has to be taken care of. A lot of things that need urgent attention, find in the hospital. And trust us, they'll tell you you have to pay something down. You have to pay for consultancy first before they even attend to you. And at that point, you have to not start running up to and calling people, please, I need money. Rather than that, you can actually just put this in place as an extra savings dedicated just for emergency funds. Dedicated just for this kind of unforeseen circumstances. It's very, very key that we put this aside from our normal regular investment or savings. We have that fund that we don't touch. It's only meant for this kind of emergency. So that's actually very important as well. Then financial education. Now, every woman needs to educate ourselves financially. And it's all about financial literacy. Seek for knowledge, improve the ones you even have, get skills on how to even manage money effectively. I mean, there are various webinars that have been held, there are various workshops that have been held on this topic and all of that. There are various of them have been held, and that can actually help you on how you can improve your personal finance, on how you can even improve debt management and all of that. You can that will also help you, and it can even help you to improve making financial decisions. You can actually seek advice from experts, on professionals that will allow you to make informed investments about decision about investment, how you can actually manage debt and other financial matters. So it's actually a good way to approach your finances. Next slide. Okay, so moving on. I haven't touched on all of these approaches that will help you to properly manage your finances because, of course, we're in motherhood stage now. So everything is going to change, your mindset is going to change, and then you now have to deal with managing finances for your kids and also working at home. Now, how do you balance all of these things together? How do you balance your finances? How do you balance being a mom and being a career person? How do you balance making money and being a mom as well? So just look at some key steps. I call it the 7-step approach, which helps to give insights on how you can actually balance all of this. So you know about the work and life balance. That's a very, very common topic that's been said everywhere around the world. But also that's just balancing your work and balancing your life. Now this is actually balancing your finance and balancing your family. So again, like I've said, money, motherhood, they work hand in hand. And you have to just balance them. Just to avoid being stressed out, avoid being burned down, burnt out, and all of those things. You just need to put all of these things into place just so that you're on the right track. So I'll just go through some of the steps you can adopt just to ensure that you balance these two things together. So a very key thing I've actually mentioned
is
before
an
is
aspect of true honor. To say we honor but refuse to submit is to deceive.
sorry about that. I'll just thanks, Mujan. So sorry about that. So we'll look at the 7 steps that would actually help us to balance this because the truth is, as a mother, you're working, you're stressed, you're earning money, the money you're earning can actually just go down the drains if you don't actually balance it. And at the end of the day, you also have to raise a family. And you just be in a dilemma and you don't even know how to come out of it. So putting these things together and balancing them is actually very key so that you don't find yourself in that dilemma, yes, so to speak. So I'll just run through this 7-step approach that I know that's going to help everyone on this call, my mothers, the men in the house. They're going to help us on how to probably find a balance between finances and also raising a family. If I just remember something now, when I was growing up, I remember very well when I was growing up in school then. Fine, my dad had actually paid our school fees and in school. I remember something that was very strict. My mom would always send something to us. That's where this actually comes into play now. When a mother is actually financially stable, she will send a Ghana must, you guys know Ghana must go back. She sent a Ghana must go back to school for me and my sister then, filled with provisions. So as in filled up, the medium size one, filled up with provisions. Fine, my dad had actually paid the school fees, but that's for children. Don't we want more, basically, right? We want more. And she sent that to us, not just me and my sister, she sent that to us. And where is she getting that money from? If she wasn't actually financially stable, she will not be able to do that. She won't be able to get that for that need of ours. And we're so happy doing that because we have a lot of things to eat, we have a lot of things to drink. And there was this juice then. I can't if you guys can remember. This very, very big juice that you can actually dilute. That was actually raining then. She'll buy that, buy different things for us, and then we're always happy about it. So my point is, if she didn't have what it takes to buy that for us and send to us, in addition to the fact that my father had actually given us pocket money and had paid our school fees, but she did an extra. And that's why it takes every woman to ensure that she's financially stable to be able to do all of these things. So I just remember that I said, let me just talk about it before I forget. So coming back to balancing our finances with raising the family, I'll just run through the 7-step approach. I'm actually going to guide us accordingly. Okay, so the first one is creating a budget. I actually discussed that before on the previous topic. So you have to create a budget that outlines your income and your expenses. My income is about 50,000, and I'm spending maybe like 30,000. So your expenses should not actually outweigh your income. And that's why I have to draw that budget. So you will know when you're actually going out of your set budget. So it's actually very key to just draw out that budget. There are actually some budgeting apps I think now that you can actually download on either iOS or Google Store. Just that can guide you and you can just quickly do that budget. So you know what you're going to expense as a family, household income, you know what you can bring to the table as per my own contribution, your husband contribution, and you can now use that to draw up that budget and have the expenses by itself. All of this just to ensure that you don't get burnt out. You can balance everything. You don't spend more than what you actually have, and you don't fall into trouble when the main need of the expense now arises. I don't have the money to actually accommodate that. So that's a very important thing to note. Very important thing to know. Now, just to mention before I continue, so mothers make very huge sacrifices for their families, and they often neglect their own needs, right? And in that process, they can actually just ignore financial security. So the lack of this knowledge of financing that can actually negatively impact a woman's future or even a family. And that's why motherhood has a way of impacting every aspect of your life, especially your finances. So new parents or new mothers would frequently face that unexpected challenge, ranging from figuring out to actually manage bills and also understand the path to long-term financial health of the family. So the bills are yet to be paid. At the same time, you also have to plan for your finances in the long term. And so these two things together are actually like a cause of concern for many parents to figure out how best to manage. And that's why balancing all of this together helps to find and strike that point where you're not burnt out and you can prioritize properly, you can plan, you can have effective money management strategies just to help you in that regard. So I want to talk about the budget creation. So I'll go and then for the budgets, yes, you can regularly review your budgets because like I said earlier, your budget today wouldn't be the budget tomorrow based on increase in price of things and all of those. So you can actually adjust your budget just to suit the current economic situation, just to suit your present family needs and your financial situation. Then the next one is to actually prioritize your financial goals. So prioritizing here means you have to identify short-term goals, identify long-term goals. I know I've done on this before. So part of the short-term goals that you can actually have is like building the emergency fund I talked about. So that means having a fund that you keep aside to take your medical expenses or anything that can come up unexpectedly. So that's like setting a short-term goal. And then setting a long-term goal is just saving for your children's education, paying off debts, and planning for retirement. So all of these things together have to be prioritized. And you now know how to now allocate the resources accordingly that you have to these goals. So you can't just go and put all your money in an investment for a long term, and then you just forget about the short term expenses that you have, or the short term finance that you need to take care of the expenses. So it's good to have that division of having the short term goals separately and having your long term goals separately, just so that you don't have to be put in the dilemma. You can even consider probably having an automated savings contribution plan so that you can also keep track of your contributions and all of that. And so that way, you know that yes, you're covered financially. Then another item to note is live within your means. Women, please, we need to learn how to live within our means. And this just talks about avoid overspending. You need to avoid overspending. Don't follow the crowd. That's very, very key. Don't follow the crowd. So many a times you might feel like, oh, I'm seeing this particular family. They're always going abroad every time, every day they're always going abroad. You want now strive to also be like them, and then you go and borrow. You're not going to borrow. You're not living with your means. This is your own financial situation. You know how you know your capacity, and then you now follow the crowd and say, oh, let me also do everything I can to go on that trip. And say that, oh, I also joined the clique of those that also travel abroad every year. And then when they come back, they are fine and they can take care of other. But when you come back, they now start looking at yourself like, I spent all the money. So it's a two-way thing. Either you spend all the money that you have, or you actually incur debts. And at the end of the day, you'll be in a serious trouble. You won't be able to take care of your family, they won't take care of it, and start causing, headache for you. So it's good to avoid overspending, live within your means, stick to your budgets. Remember, we said you have to create a budget at the first item. Stick to your budgets, don't overspend, avoid unnecessary expenses. Now, a good thing to do here is to differentiate between your needs and your wants. So, needs are actually basic amenities that you need: your food, your shelter, your clothing. They're actually your needs and they are basic. But your wants are things that you just like, you just love. You might never really need that thing, but you just like it. You might decide not to buy a phone, a bag that you might not even need, but you just like it. But if you think about it further, if I buy this bag now, I have this expense. So in the next 3 to 4 months, kids are going to resume school. And remember now that most of the schools have even increased their school fees. And maybe they're going to go for second term and you have to pay for second term fees or something. You cannot pay annually. And then you've actually used the money to go and buy something else because you want to just show off and just be like, oh, that's other family. But it's just good to just stick and live within your means. Differentiate that this is my needs and these are my wants. And just make that conscious decision about where to allocate those to your needs and your wants financially. Just ensure that you are able to properly allocate the resources and differentiate your needs, and your wants. That way, you won't have any issues of having to think about the fact that you don't have enough money to be able to take care of the pressing needs that comes. Now, another thing that can be done in terms of living within your means is that you can also take advantage of something what they call save money on everyday purchases. So every now and then we have discounts, we have offers, we have sales going on here and there using coupons and all of those things. You can actually even take advantage of those things just to reduce the expenses on, of course, basic needs and maybe some wants. So it's actually a good, don't overlook saving. So saving in this instance is not saving money in the bank, it's saving on your expenses. So you can even say that, okay, now there's a particular offer that is going on to buy some items for the home or for your kids. You can take advantage of the opportunity rather than waiting to pay at a higher price. And I remember I mentioned about emergency funds. So in the case where you have this offer coming, you can even go to emergency funds and pull out from there and actually buy these things. That we have actually bought at the cheaper rate, and then you know you're good. You bought it at the cheaper rate, and at that point in time, you can actually save some money. So using coupons, shopping sales, and so that's actually a very, very good thing to consider also in living within your means. So another point to note is also to communicate openly. So now open communication is very, very important. Someone that doesn't talk or doesn't speak about what's going on in their minds might just the person might actually get depressed. Just use that as an example. So, in terms of also ensuring that you find a balance, openly communicate. Now, communicate with your spouse or your partner and communicate with your child on financial matters. Now, for your children, it should actually be a time when they're of age, anyways. So, that kind of conversation with them, not when they are still little, you're saying, talking to them about the fact that, oh, you have to contribute money, you have to learn about money management and all of those things. But the very important thing here is to ensure that you have to actually have that open communication. Why am I saying this? So you have a partner, you have a husband, and both of you are working, both of you are earning together. If you communicate openly, you can say, okay, I can bring this, and you will say you can bring this, and then you have a total, of course, package. Two of them together bringing in something to take up the home front as per financial matters. That way, you've opened up. When the people don't open up, you now find that you're burnt out because you also might even think you have a lot of money, and then it would probably just close eyes to something that she'll take care of it. But the truth be told, it's good you just lay it open, communicate it, and say, you know what, this is what I can afford. So you can also maybe jack up whatever it is that is bringing in, and that way you're not burnt out. Because if you don't communicate openly and just keep quiet about it, then of course it's just that you actually take care of it. So it's very, very key that we openly discuss all of these things and to actually help to help with the finance in the home. So, like I said earlier, communicating with your children about financial matters and making them responsible for managing money properly, it's actually should be done at a very, very at an appropriate age, just so that you don't talk to them about these matters at an age where, of course, they won't even understand what you're saying. This just helps them to develop good financial habits from a young age. So at that young age, they can actually know that, oh, as I'm growing, I also need to start developing good financial habits and knowing how to save money, how to invest for the future, and all of this thing, because they also need to know about all of these things. So the other part I would also talk about is to be in control of your debts. Now let me start by saying debt is not negative. Debt is not always negative. Let me put it like that. So debt can be that you're actually borrowing money to buy a house, real estate investments, and all. So, and of course, you are paying, you can comfortably repay those debts. So it's very important that you avoid being in a situation where you're unable to pay your debt. You are borrowing more than you can actually repay. Borrowing is not bad, but you should borrow for the right reasons. Like I said earlier, borrowing for the purpose of buying a house or borrowing for the purpose of probably financing your education, your child's education. There's a good cost for that. We're not just borrowing to now take care of some expenses like buying hair, buying bag, and all of these things, and then you get yourself into serious busy, and then you cannot afford to pay for even the real things that needs to be paid for. So borrowing should not involve paying for clothing, paying for jewelry, and borrowing should be used for the right cause. Like I said earlier, debt need not be negative. So you can have a credit that is going on, but it's actually value adding at the end of the day. And that way, you know that yes, you're actually okay, I'm able to balance all of these things. Next slide, please. Okay, and so the sixth point here is invest for the future. This is actually very, very, very important. Investing, like I said earlier, savings is not investment, please. Women, men in the house, savings is not investment. You have to invest for the future. Invest wisely for the future growth of your wealth and to secure your financial future. And I'll just touch on this area very quickly and just try to elaborate on it properly. So investments there are various ways by which you can actually invest. There are various investment options that you can actually partake of. And I will say never overlook any investment opportunities, never. And also when you're investing, you also have to diversify your investment portfolio classes across different asset classes. So you can actually invest in stocks, you can invest in bonds, you can invest in real estate, mutual funds, just to minimize risk and maximize returns over time. Now we have various investors. We have people that actually can take risk in investing. So you actually probably buy some assets that are actually high risk, and they say the higher the risk, the higher the return. Now there's what's called the power of small wins. Now, many people might feel that investing means you have to have like a 1 million to invest money. No, you can actually start small investing and then you increase over time. So, power of small means you start small, you begin to add to it, and then it grows like that. And now, thankfully, all of this investment portfolio that I've actually mentioned about are actually offered by Quantum Zenith. So Quantum Zenith actually has various entities that offer all of these investments. We have the asset management arm that invests in which you can invest in mutual funds with them. Now for the mutual fund investment, you can even invest as low as 10,000. You can put it there every month, and the money is just there working for you. As I speak, the rates are actually even very high right now, about 14%, that mark, which means any money you put in, you're earning on it. It's not just sleeping. The money is actually working for you. So our asset management actually gives the opportunity to be able to invest in mutual funds. So mutual fund is basically just having a pool of funds together, and we have some experienced fund managers that will invest the funds for you in good assets. And so your money grows for you and it works for you. You cannot go to sleep and then it's working for you in that regard. So you can actually partake of the opportunity in that regards. And then if you want to invest in stocks, equities, we also have the securities arm where you can actually invest in in equities. That's buying stocks and selling stocks. Now, for the purpose of your securing your financial future, you can actually buy stocks for keeps. That means you invest in stocks of companies that are stable financially. So you're investing in these stocks just to ensure that you have your stock is growing or the price is appreciating. Your investment is actually appreciating. So you buy a stock of say at 10 naira today, and in the next 2 years it's 20 naira. You're getting 10 naira on that stock. As if you have like a 1 million units of that stock times, of course, 10 naira. You know how much that actually comes to. So it's a good way to actually also invest for the future by buying stocks. So our securities arm also in Quantum Zenith also offers all of this. So you can buy stocks for keeps, and of course, that way you have it growing. And even in investing in these stocks, you can also get dividends where the company that can declare them. In addition to the fact that the price that initially bought that stock is going to go higher than you bought it, and that's what they call capital appreciation. So at the end of the day, your investment is not going to go on the drains. You're able to invest, and then it's increased over time. Another investment that you can actually do is FDN savings bond. Now, in the bonds market, most of the time we need to have probably so much money to invest in bonds. But the FGN savings bond, which is also offered by Zenith Securities, Content Securities, it also avails you the opportunity to actually invest more. You can invest as low as 5,000 naira just to even have FGN bonds in your investment portfolio. As a matter of fact, one thing you can also learn from investing that you can even invest on behalf of your children. For those that are even not don't have children yet, you can actually even start investing for them in the future before they're even born. Honestly, you can actually start doing that. You can invest in evidence as low as 5,000 naira that you can use to invest, and then it keeps growing. It also keeps growing in that regard. Then, in terms of even trying to maybe have an education plan for them, we also have a trustees company where you can actually secure your funds there because that's why it's a trust. You can actually have an education plan with them, and then you just also have deposits maybe every month, every quarter, or by monthly or something, and you keep the fund, and it's also going for you. You can even give them an advice, saying that when the child gets a particular age, pay for their school fees, and you can even give them the instruction and all. So all of this is together, you have everything in one bucket, which compounds and even has. So all of these investment options are available to you at Quantum Zenith, where you can actually partake of. And trust me, you will not regret it because it's actually very, very key to invest for the future. I'll give one secret. For me as a person, when I'm someone that if I have money saved somewhere and I have access to it, I always go there. When something happens, I always go there. So what I do or what I did was I'll just tell myself, you know what, Tokwe, just throw away this money. I can say throw away 5,000 naira. And it actually worked for me a lot. I just say, you know what, let me just throw away 5,000 naira and I can even spend on just buying a shawarma or something. I just say, you know, let me just throw that 5,000 naira and put it somewhere. I cannot put it into mutual funds or buy a savings bond or put it somewhere that I'll never have access to. That helped me a lot to be able to take care of my needs and at the family front. So I would appeal to everyone here, if you know you don't have any investments now, even if you're a mother or even a would-be mother, you can actually start investing now for that future. Invest now for your kids. You can buy it in their names, or you can buy it in a name, or yeah, in your name. You know, I know you might have a name for your kids yet. That's if it's not, you don't have that, but you can actually buy it in your name. I know that this particular fund or investment meant for my kids to just secure their future. So when it gets to that time when you need to have to pay for their education, you need to actually go to your investment, actually break your investment and pay for it. And that way, everything's all planned for you, everything's all settled. So in the chat box, my colleague will just drop our contact information, and you guys have to reach us for all of these investment opportunities. And honestly, it's going to do all of us a real do all of us real good just to partake of all of these investment options, because we have everything in one bucket. Everything you need, we actually have it in one bucket across the various entities I've actually mentioned to us today. So invest wisely, invest for the future, very, very important, and that will actually save you the day. And lastly, plan for the unexpected. Yes. Plan for the unexpected. Very, very, very important. And that still brings to the same issue of the emergency fund I've talked about. There could be unexpected expenses, there could be setback financially. But because you've actually planned ahead of time for all of these investments, then you are good to go. Now, I think best practice I would say, or my advice is that aim to save at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in an easily accessible account. Like I said, savings, you can easily go there to pick up your phone, like having a savings account, and because that can easily meet your current expenses. But if you have an investment, you have to probably go to the investment company and tell them you want to liquidate your funds. That might take like maybe 3 to 5 days. But if it's a savings, which you actually set aside by having this emergency fund, you can easily just go in there and withdraw from it and use it to finance any expenses that might come up. So, like I said earlier on, I would advise that you can actually aim to save at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. So that means January to June or January to March, you save it up already. And then you know that anything that comes within that period, you're good. You can actually try this out. I'm sure it's doable. Just put that aside in our savings account and then the basic reason for this planning for the unexpected is just to ensure that you have a financial safety net. You have a financial safety net, you are secured, you have peace of mind, and it can help you to navigate unforeseen circumstances without derailing your long-term financial plan. So you don't have to touch your long-term financial savings or investment, rather. Rather, you already have this emergency fund that is kept aside that you can actually go back to, and then by that, you know you're good. So by implementing all of these strategies in balancing your finance and all of that, it helps to maintain a proactive approach to manage your finances properly. And you can effectively balance your financial responsibilities while also raising a family and work towards achieving your financial goals. So I'll just next slide, please. Now, this picture here just it summarizes everything I've said about balancing your finances with fitting a family. So it says 5 smart money moves for mothers. Is it possible to expand this, please? You can just zoom in, zoom out a bit. Possible. Okay. Yeah, so it's called 5 smart money moves for mothers. Yeah, so it just summarizes all that I've mentioned, all the English I've spoken, all the grammar. So in summary, 5 things a smart mother needs to do in terms of managing her finances, basically. So the first one is called emergency couples, and I've mentioned this severally across the webinar, across the presentation, and topics I've actually talked about. So it says save regularly for a rainy day. Create an emergency corpus worth 6 months of expenses. And that is what I mentioned in the previous slide. So it's very, very key. Save for the rainy day. Very, very, very important. And that's going to actually help us in ensuring that we are secure financially. The second point here is start investing towards your goals. This also cannot be, overemphasized. I've said it before. Invest, have a diverse portfolio of investments. Don't stick to one particular investment. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Just ensure that you have various investments and then you just spread whatever money you want to invest, you spread it across those investment classes. So start investing towards your goals. Start saving at least 20% of your income. Make these savings work, make those savings work by investing in growth assets. Now I mentioned it. Start saving at least 20% of your investments. Make these savings work by investing. So when you save, you now have to invest because savings won't yield much for you, but investment will actually lead to having more on your on your capital. Meaning you have 20,000 naira today as an investment, it gets to 4,000 naira. You added 20K without doing anything. So having those various investment options that actually I highlighted earlier would help you to start investing in your goals. The third one is get covered. This is actually very important as well. Get covered. So your kids see you as a superhero because that's exactly what you are. You are the one who takes care of them, who keeps them safe. Ensure you have enough health, life, and accident insurance. So this actually speaks to not being burnt out. You have your kids to take care of, you've been taking care of, mommy, my superhero, my superhero, and all of those things. And then at the end of the day, you do everything for them, but you're not even taking care of yourself. And at the end of the day, you might just, get down, burnt out, and you might get burnt out. And at the end of the day, you're not able to even take care of them eventually. So it's very important that you take care of your health. While you're taking care of your kids, taking care of the home, and also going to work, balance everything and ensure that you take care of your health. Please, very, very important. Take care of your health, do medical checkup, very important. Check your health and ensure that you also get maybe life insurance or something. So that's very key. Then build your financial foundation. Now choose your investment goals. You don't need to have lakhs to start. You don't have to have so much to start. Just break your goals into specific, measurable, and achievable objectives. It's just talking about the SMART principle for making for your goals, setting your goals. Of course, you know what SMART is. SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So if I'm going to make a goal, you won't say, I want to save for my kids. That's not a goal. That's not a SMART goal. You will say, I want to save 10,000 naira every month for my kids' education for the next 5 years. That particular statement I've made actually has all these SMART principles already in that statement. So I want to save 10,000 naira every month for my kids' education. I'm being specific here, for my kids' education. That's the specific part of it. For my kids' education um, in the next 10 years. So that's actually a SMART goal. You'll be able to split all these principles specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That's the 10 years for the time bound. And lastly, educate yourself financially. So it just says here that do you want successful children? If yes, remember you are their role model. It is very powerful if your children can grow up with good financial habits. I already mentioned this before. So education, 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 financial literacy, go for workshops, seminars. There are a lot of communities out there for women that they organize workshops, they organize events. You can even get them on Instagram because you get a lot of time. Research about them, join the webinars, go for workshops if it's physical, and just get skills basically. So remember that there is no better inheritance than education and good habits. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, before I speak on this, I want to just talk about some success stories of some mothers. Permit me, I'm using some examples that are foreign. It's not actually here, but I'll just speak to it. So I'll just take about 4 or 5 of them, and just to explain how this balancing principles actually help mothers to properly manage their finances. So one of them says, budgeting is a huge help. And I'll just read it. Motherhood has taught me to carefully budget and be more resourceful. Having children can double or triple your monthly costs. Budgeting for the added costs and finding free activities has been a huge help. I have become very aware of where each dollar goes and find myself much more disciplined than I ever was in the past. So this is the mother saying this. She's the mother of three, and then she said that budgeting actually helped her a lot, just be able to meet up her financial goals. Then the other mother here says financial stability is key. Once I became a mom, it became very important that we are financially stable and could start saving for the future. I had people who relied on me to provide for them no matter what. It spurred me to learn how to new plan, stick to a budget, and improve my career so I could continue to support them. That's another very incredible success story of a mother who was able to manage her finances properly. And then another one says, start financial education early. I've talked about this also during the course of my presentation. So motherhood taught me that we need to start to educate kids as early as possible to prepare them for becoming financially responsible adults. That's at the right time though. We actively involve our children in discussions about saving money, paying bills, doing taxes, how much vacations cost, and investing in the stock markets and every other investment, mutual funds, having a trust fund, and all of that. My kids have a debit card with special controls for their spending money to teach them about tracking purchases and savings for things they want. Additionally, we provided them the tools to research stocks and let them choose some of the stocks in their college funds. It has made it has made for interesting dinner conversations on whose stock is even doing better. So, of course, this is actually a very good story from a mother. And lastly, invest for my family's future. Being a mother, especially in the time of COVID, when we've all experienced change and loss in many areas, has taught me the importance of not taking anything for granted, being intentional with my finances, and using my money to invest in ways that will provide for my family for years to come. So these are just some success stories of mothers all around the world that have actually been able to balance their finances with raising a family. I know that for all the mothers out here, even the good mothers, we all have our success stories. Our mothers are there, they think of us at this point. And so they also are they're even our role models. And they've also had our success stories. I actually mentioned how my mother was able to provide for us, send us something every time to school then. And, so many of them, they fight. My mother has even some businesses. Aside from she was working, she was a teacher. She had to also have a business just to be able to sustain a family and make us happy, make us, have everything that we wanted in quotes. So that's why it's actually very important that we also ensure that money, motherhood go hand in hand, and we learn a lot from it and helping us to secure our financial future. So now, final thoughts. I'll just read this. Becoming a mother is the most incredible experience, and it changes your mindset about financial well-being and education. And this is a conversation that we should be having more often. It's about security, it's about making choices that reflect our own beliefs and values. And it's about recognizing the ability mothers have to make our money work for us and our families. Becoming a mother is a tough job, but also the most gratifying experience. The more equipped and structured you are in your financial life, the more convinced you'll be in raising your mini you. So I hope this conversation has actually, in a way, educated us on us as mothers and will be mothers to see how we can strike that balance between our finances and also in our families, the relationship between money and motherhood, and also all of those points that we mentioned that will actually help us to gain financial freedom, secure our future financially, and also gain financial independence. Thank you. Thank you. And that brings to the end of this presentation. So I will just be taking questions at this point if there are any questions.
All right, thank you very much, Temitope. That was an insightful webinar. Do we have any questions at this point? Okay, so Ayodeji Teller. Okay, you can unmute yourself, sir, and ask your question.
Thank you very much. As I said, my name is Ayodeji Teller. I'm calling from Bowie in Maryland, United States. I'm present on vacation. I'm quite happy at your presentation, Mrs. Tope Oyekomi. By the way, Tope is my daughter. I have a word of admonition for we fathers. Tope did mention that in order to reduce stress, mothers need to do a lot of planning and they need to do a lot of balancing. My word of admonition for we fathers and grandfather, I'm a grandfather, for instance, we need to help our wives so that we reduce their stress and they don't get burnt out. Finally, I love your smart ways of handling things. I think we need to try to implement this in everything we do so that we don't burn our wives out and we reduce their level of stress. Once again, Dr. very well done. And since you now told us that you have places where you throw your money, I appreciate the fact that you are taking care of myself and your mother. Since you are throwing those money out, maybe you throw more to us. It's just a joke. Thank you very much. Very well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, sir. That was actually interesting. Do we have any other question? Okay, Mr. or Mrs. Okay, Mrs. Tosin. Okay, you can mute yourself. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank you for the lecture. It was really inspiring. I want to find out how one can mix their portfolio. What I mean is that when you're going for shares and stocks, how do you know the kind of shares to buy and how much should you invest in such shares or stocks? Is it on a monthly basis? Is it a one-time thing as well?
Okay. Because I'll just really answer. Okay. Okay, so I'll just thank you for your question. That's a very good question. I'll quickly answer. So, in terms of knowing the particular stocks to actually purchase, two striking things come to play. One, it has to be a company that's very, very profitable, that is financially stable, and they also pay out dividends. Now, we have experts that can actually further advise you on all of this, on how to pick the best stocks to invest in, just to be able to have that. And it's something that is not based on any timing. You can invest as low as 5,000 to buy a stock. So buy the price of the stock and accommodate your 5,000. It can be done at any time. There's no boundary. There's no limit to it. The only thing is that, of course, trading happens for a period of time from 10 o'clock to like 2:30. That's the trading period. So, and it's every day. The market is always there. The market is always there. And so it will be good to actually come on board to invest in stocks. So, like I said, we have experts that would actually advise you more. But the two basic things, like I've said, is the company must be viable, have strong financials, fundamentals. They must have good profits, and at the same time offer good dividends. And it's all about having an historical information about the company as well. So the experts will actually put more light on this, and then they can share more light on this, and then you can actually buy good stocks. I'll just answer your questions.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Just to add to what Temitope said, Mrs. Tosin, you can check the chat box and reach out to our securities team by the email, or you can call and they will guide you on how to get started with those stocks. Thank you. Okay, so we'll just take one more question. Joanna, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So for me, it's not a question, it's more like a comment,
Okay.
which is to appreciate the initiative for this, and also to confirm that yes, it's possible, it's doable. For example, what I've been doing, I have a 4 going on 5 and a newborn. And what I did was right from immediately they were born, the bank account was open. For the 5-year-old, right from the naming ceremony, every money he has gotten, every birthday money, every gift money, you go to see grandparents or uncles, someone dashes him a 1K or a 2K, every money he has gotten since he was born, 4 years counting, has gone into his bank accounts and into investments. into mutual funds, into treasury bills, FGN savings bonds, high interest saving accounts, as many investments as possible. Then for the newborn as well, I've opened a Zenith Bank account. Short today, I was even making inquiries towards the next FGN saving bonds. We invested in treasury bills like last week. So it's just to encourage that it is for mothers out there. Yes, it takes discipline, it takes sacrifice. It's possible. So of course, it's just like the facilitator said, it's just we may not have 10 million right now to set aside for investments, but we can build towards there, which is a 5K this month, a 10K this month. So for me, it's two ways. There's inflow coming from every gift the child has received right from when they were born. That's apart from the money that I also, consistently add into their investments towards their future. So for me, just to encourage other people to continue, that they can do this, it's possible, and to also appreciate the initiative by Quantum Zenith. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that insightful comment. That's really, really insightful. Thank you so much, Joanna. Thank you. Any other questions, chat box, or any other person has any question to ask?
All right. So currently no question. Thank you, Joanna, for the insight, and thank you everyone for making our time to attend today's webinar. We'll make available the slides and the video tomorrow morning. So do have a lovely day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Bye.